Good morning, good afternoon. Thanks everyone for attending today. My name is Ryan. I work here at Crow Canyon. We're going to be touching on our IT help desk application today for the modern UI. It's just at the top of the hour now. We're expecting this to run about 30 minutes, but I do want to give folks just another 60 seconds to 2 minutes to log on. So just sit tight, get comfy, and we'll get started here in the next minute or so. Okay, well, let's hop into this now that we've waited a few minutes here. So again, my name's Ryan. For those who missed my first little intro, I work here at Crow Canyon. Today we're going to be covering our IT help desk solution, primarily in the modern UI. So again, thanks for attending. Just before I get into the demo portion of this piece, I just want to talk a little bit about Crow Canyon as a company, our background. So we've been around for about, I think, 21 years now. 1999 was our start year. And our first application was our IT help desk. So this application has matured over 20 years with the company, and really it's kind of hit its stride in the last couple of years. And what I mean by that is our applications are all SharePoint based, modern UI, online and on-prem. But it's our applications are run by something that we call the Nitro Studio. And for those of you who are not familiar with that, I do encourage you to hit our website and check out the Nitro Studio as well. Basically, what it is, it's our own set of tools that we use to create admin our applications, but also it gives you the ability to go out and create your own forms, workflows, reports, business processes within inside of your SharePoint environment. So kind of a long story short is that using our own tools, all of these applications become very flexible. You're not locked in by any means. I'm going to show you what comes with the out-of-the-box product today. But do keep in mind that every form that you see is configurable. The workflows that I'm going to talk about are configurable. They can be added, they can be changed, they can be manipulated. Really anything that you see in the application today. What we're trying to do is give you a really nice starting point with an IT help desk built with ITIL in mind, but also give you that flexibility to go out and make this your own. So that being said, here is our IT help desk. Now, this backend site is only going to be made accessible for departmental users, maybe some admin staff, right? We don't want our end users to have access to this backend site, but we still want them to be able to submit tickets. So we can go about that in a few different ways. The first way is, kind of what we're used to with IT help desk, and it's submitting an email, right? There's a shared inbox, helpdesk at, yourcompany.com, support at yourcompany.com, right? We want to be able to capture those emails and turn them into tickets. That's a possibility. On our tickets drop down here, you can always create a ticket on behalf of an end user. They catch you in the hallway, they call you, they pop into your office. That's still an option. But the third way is through this employee portal. And what this employee portal does is it gives your end users a way to interface with that department without having to have access to this backend site. So they can come in here and see things like their tickets, the knowledge-based articles if you want to make accessible to them. They can see, you can make list view web parts available to them so they can see particular information associated with their requests. They can search, you can embed reports within this portal. Basically, all of the web parts available in our Nitro Studio are going to be available in this portal. So you can make it as fun from a branding perspective as you'd like, embed reports, really try to make the user interface splashy to push your employees to this page. but the main functionality is going to come from the submitted ticket. Now, when the ticket form loads here, you're going to see it's going to read some information from my SharePoint user profile, right? My admin account, my email, my phone number, my department. You can choose to map over as much information from their profile as you'd like. We also have the ability to do some syncs with Active Directory as well. That's a possibility. If you want to talk, if you want to know more about that, I encourage you to reach out, and we could talk a little bit more in depth about the possibilities there. But the idea is this pretty straightforward here, right? Requester information comes over, they can plug in a ticket, they can select the category and the issue type of their ticket. Say they select hardware problem. The issue type is going to look up to the category. So when we select a category, I'm only going to see issue types related to that category. So if I toggle this, change it to calendar, my issue types are going to reset. And now I'm going to see issue types specific to that category being calendar. Ticket description is rich text. So they can, add a description in. They can embed a picture. They can copy and paste, screenshot, embed a table. You have a lot of options here on how they get information over to you. They can also include attachments. Now, once they hit save on this form, a few workflows are going to fire off. I really like this interface because it gives them the green arrow of success that, hey, this ticket is fired off appropriately. And what it does is it notifies them that the ticket has been submitted. The appropriate backend department, appropriate backend person, right, if you're talking about IT, gets notified that the ticket has been submitted successfully, and that ticket is created. So we have a few automated workflows firing off. And where we define who is notified when those tickets are created is done in the back end of the application. So we have an application admin center in the site contents here, application admin, which I have open. And it looks a little something like this. It basically gives you control over everything within the site itself. So to change the lists, to configure the lists that live in the site, configure the notifications, right? So you have complete control over what those notifications say when a new ticket is created, right? Ticket assignment, ticket creation, ticket completion. And then who is going to be the owner of those particular category types, right? So you can define a team or an individual person to be the category owner, right? So if you want these tickets to be automatically sent to those teams, you can absolutely have the ability to do so. Same goes for the issue type, right? If you want a team to handle a category, but a specific person to handle a specific issue type, that's a possibility as well. You also have the ability to put in a round robin. Everyone can be notified. One person can be notified, and then they can assign it to the appropriate person. You got a lot of flexibility when it comes to ticket assignment, right? So, quick recap. End user can submit a ticket through our portal, through email, or connecting with the agent. When the ticket is submitted, the end users have access to view their tickets. They also get a notification saying a new ticket has been submitted. Third, the appropriate internal staff member is notified that a new ticket has been created and assigned. So you can see here, as an end user, I can see who my assigned staff is, what the request status is, etc. Now, what we've done, once that ticket is created, right, it's obviously going to switch over to the back end of the site. And what we've done, not only with our employee portal, but our internal side, is make it as mobile friendly or as user friendly as possible. So leveraging the modern UI in SharePoint, whether it's online or on-prem, you can actually use these applications through the SharePoint app. Something I do pretty frequently, I really like, but it gives me the ability to not only leverage like my laptop, but also my cell phone. So we've done things on a lot of our views to be able to make sure that these forms pop up in a mobile friendly manner. So not only like you saw the submit new ticket feature here on the portal, but also the similar manner that we have set up here on the backend side. So not only is it mobile friendly, but we've created these different dashboards to view tickets. I mean, those familiar with SharePoint, when a ticket is created or a SharePoint list item is created, it's all flowing into one list. In this case, the tickets list, right? But what we've done is we've added some fluff functionality on top of SharePoint to make it a more friendly interface for not only our end users like we've talked about, but also our technicians. So you can come in here and see unassigned tickets, overdue tickets, open tickets through our tiles and dials dashboard. We also have some quick links that can get you directly to like your open or closed tickets, etc. But we also have some dashboards built in. Now in our manager's dashboard, as this loads here, it's going to be a little bit more report heavy, right? And when we talk about report heavy, when we talk about reports in any of our applications, these are going to be Crow Canyon reports. So these are Nitro Studio reports. And what's cool about these is that they're live. So anytime one of these SharePoint list items, one of these tickets is updated, the report will update as well. So you can see like incoming tickets by month, open tickets by category and priority, staff load by ticket. So they will refresh when that list item is updated. But you can also do things like export them to PDF, PNG. You can email these reports, and then you can also print these reports out from a manual basis. But the other option is actually schedule these reports using our workflow tool. So let's say I want to send staff load by ticket to the IT manager every Monday morning at 9 a.m. They'll get an email with the report as an attachment, and they'll be able to view that report without even actually having to come to the SharePoint site itself, the IT help desk site, I should say. So again, the idea is that we're making this more and more user-friendly, mobile-friendly. Okay, so let's talk about working a ticket. So again, just real quick, a quick disclaimer, kind of reset. I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record, but all of our forms are configurable. It's living in our Nitro Studio, our Nitro apps. So not only do you have control over the workflows, the email features, the reports, you're also going to have complete control over our forms as well. So if there's some information here that maybe you don't need or you want to capture more information, then that's also a possibility as well. I'm just going to close out of that now. Okay. So in our display version of our ticket, we can do things like view the version history, who touched the ticket, what they said, when they said it. You can send emails from your tickets as well. So what's nice here is that when you send an email from a ticket, it can come from your email address, it can come from a no reply, shared inbox, and then it can go to the requester or really anyone that you want. Users in a group, user in a column, a particular email address. But what's nice about this is that, yeah, we're just sending an email basically at its base form, right? But what's cool is that by using this feature, when you send this email, it's actually going to automatically relate to the ticket. So that way, if anyone responds to this email or any communication is done back and forth, instead of having to toggle between Outlook and SharePoint to make sure that we're up to date on a particular ticket, it's actually going to show up in the ticket itself. So when I hit send here, it's going to let me know that the process is run successfully. Email added to Outbox, item created, that's that list item that we've created and related to the ticket, content prepared successfully. So the ticket will refresh here, and then now we have access to view all of those incoming and outgoing emails related to this particular ticket. One thing I want to touch on here before we get into the actual working of the ticket, we do have a few other lists that, a few other main lists of the ticketing system. One being problem and one being change request. And what's cool about our Nitro Studio is that we have something called custom actions. And custom actions are manually invoked workflows. So we've talked about some automated workflows already, the automatic ticket creation, the email notifications, updating or moving items based on some sort of action. That happens when something changes, something is created, something is updated, right? These custom actions are manually invoked, user triggered, right? And what's cool is that these problems and change requests are their own lists, right? So let's say we create a problem and it's the internet's down and you get 40 tickets that the internet has been down and you want to relate all those tickets together. So instead of going into the problems list itself and creating that problem and then tying it back to all those tickets, what we do with this custom action is give you the ability to automatically create the problem without leaving the list, the ticket list that you're in, so you don't have to jump from list to list. And B, run an approval process, run, some sort of change process associated with that list item, again, without having to leave the screen that you're in. So again, huge deal. Maybe, I like it because it cuts down on time and it builds in those connections between, different lists within the help desk. So you can come in here and fill out your category and issue type related to the problem, the response time, maybe if there's an asset related to this particular problem. Real quick plug on this while I work through here. Our assets application is a separate application from our help desk. If you're interested in seeing that in more detail, we have some videos on our website. I'd also be happy to do a private demo for you as well on the assets application. And just like the ticket, you can assign a team or a staff member for this particular problem as well, affected components, resolution notes, etc. But what's cool is that when a problem is created, like I said, you can do it from this custom action, but when you can tie as many tickets as you can to the problem, and then when that problem is closed, you can build in workflows to notify all of the end users who submitted tickets related to that problem. So instead of going in and notifying each independent end user that, hey, internet's back up and running, you close the problem out, and then everyone can be subsequently notified. Okay, let's talk about working the ticket. Now in the edit version of the ticket, that's where we can update the information here. And this first tab, this employee tab, is the information we're capturing from the email or that web form on the employee portal, category, issue type, requester information, description of the ticket. Staff tab, who's assigned to the ticket? Maybe it's a team or a staff member like we talked about, how the ticket came in. Again, that assets application, you can have you can have the assets list tied to the tickets list. And then you can assign a due date. Now, what's cool about the due date column is that you can have a few different workflows running around that column. You can have a automatic date populate when a ticket is created, and that can be dependent upon a category or an issue type, right? If it's a email category, I want the due date to be tomorrow. If it's a hardware or if it's a network problem, maybe it's 3 days out. But you have some flexibility on how often or when those due dates get set. The second option for around this date column is notifying the technician that a due date is coming due. And then you can, my favorite saying is you can ping them as aggressively as you choose. I believe it's as fast as every 15 minutes. Obviously, not everyone's going to love that. So it's typically on a time cadence if you're choosing, day before, day of, 15 minutes before, right? And then the third workflow associated with this date column is when the ticket's overdue. Maybe we want to change the priority to high and notify someone along the line that, hey, this ticket hasn't been touched and we want to escalate it. A work log, internal notes, right? It's going to date and timestamp who added the notes, when they added them, what they said. So it gives you a running history on the work log here. And then resolution. When you're ready to close this ticket out, our resolution notes are actually sent to our end user. This is something that you can have mapped over into that notifications, right, when we're talking about ticket completion. But what's also cool about this resolution notes field is that this is rich text. So again, you can copy and paste here. But you can actually take this resolution notes field and come over to our knowledge base tab, hit this create KB article button, and turn the resolution notes into a SharePoint wiki page and have it update your KB article library. So if you're using knowledge base articles already, or you want to start using knowledge base articles, what's cool here is that it gives you the ability to build your knowledge base library as tickets are created, right? So we've identified that this ticket's going to be something that we're going to be dealing with more and more often in the future. Let's create a KB article for it. So not only, like I said, can you add knowledge base articles to tickets, but you can create knowledge base articles from tickets. You can also have externally facing KB articles as well as internally facing KB articles. So if you have some stuff that are meant solely for technicians, you can also break that up as well. Now the last tab here, this related items tab, we talked a little bit about the email history, right? We talked a little bit about the problem, being able to link a problem to a ticket. Change requests is something else that I want to talk about here, but I'll get into that in more detail in a second. What I want to highlight here is this associated tasks. So when we talk about creating or linking problems to tickets, the most common vernacular is parent to child relationship, right? The problem is the parent, the ticket is the child. The tickets are the children. We have a similar setup with our associated tasks. So in this case, think of the ticket as the parent and our tasks as the child relationship in this situation. So what I mean is that a ticket is created, but maybe we need to have someone physically do something or run a test or run a check before I can close the ticket out. So you can actually assign someone a task, give them a due date, and have the same workflows on the due dates on a task, just like we did in the ticket, right? new task. Assign a start and a due date. You can assign it to anyone. What's nice here is that, again, we're reading from, Office 365 profile, SharePoint user profiles, Active Directory. We can just start typing in a name. Need you to do ABC. Hit save. This person's going to be notified. The new task is going to be added to the ticket. It's automatically associated. And now you can keep track of both all of the tasks all the tasks related to the ticket itself. Okay, so that's working the ticket in a nutshell. As you can tell, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty standard, but there's a lot of functionality in there, right? The workflow automation, the notifications, etc. One last piece I want to touch on before I open it up for questions is our change request form. So change requests can be, again, they can be linked from the ticket itself, or they can be created in its own list here. But I'm going to do it from the ticket just to show you what that looks like. So again, leveraging our custom actions, I can create a change request right from the ticket that I'm in. And we can start to work through the change request process. Just put an arbitrary title in here. So type of change, it could be an approval process, it could be a hardware upgrade, it could be a software upgrade, right? But you can also assign an owner, and then you have the ability to submit for approval. So leveraging, whether you're on-prem or online, the Nitro Studio has something that we call advanced approvals, or our workflow approval. Our workflow also has an approval process as well. Basically, it's like, okay, look, a change request is being created, and before this can go into effect, we have to have some sort of an approval process, right? So by clicking this, yes/no column in the SharePoint form, we're going to fire off that workflow in the back end. And what's cool here is that when you define the approval process, the people in that, that type of change, Ryan as an approver, hardware upgrade, software update, right? They're going to be automatically notified that, hey, an approval's been generated, and I need you to do X, Y, and Z with this. What's nice is that it's going to go directly to their email, and we have something called like lazy approvals or approval via email, and they can actually do that right from their, from their email, from their phone, etc. They don't have to physically come in and mark the approval task as completed. Approval is created, approvers are notified, they can update it via email. One piece here I forgot to add in, I want to touch on, is that the approval process can be done in a few different ways. You can have a stepped approval process, step 1, step 2, step 3, it goes to person A, it goes to person B, it goes to person C. They can approve it, deny, or send it back, right? And we just kind of follow along that step-by-step approval process. Or it can go to persons A, B, and C all at once, and we need one or all people to approve it, right? So you can have that stepped or kind of blanket approval process associated with really any of the lists in our application. It's built on the change request list out of the box, but it can be added to any of the lists here in the IT help desk. So pretty similar to the ticket: description, priority, requester, department, request date, due date. Again, date column, assume there's the workflows associated with it. The details, affected components, mitigation, rollback options, cost, testing, training requirements, work log. Related items, this is a pretty common theme here. You're going to see in a lot of our applications, the more and more you become familiar with Crow Canyon, is that we like to tie all of our SharePoint lists together. All of the major information in all of our applications, we like to tie together in our related items tab. Again, it's to save time from clicking from list to list. It's all consumable from one screen. So you can tie tickets here, you can tie assets here, and then again, you can also have subtasks related to a change request. Okay. So, in a nutshell, that is our IT help desk application. It's a very broad strokes overview, right? There is a lot of nitty-gritty features. We can get down in the weeds. If that's something you're interested in, I do encourage you to reach out to us privately, and we'll schedule a demo. We'll walk through it, maybe discuss your particular requirements. But while you got me, I just want to kind of open the floor up to questions, if you have any. So if you have any questions, feel free to fire those over now. We got about 5 minutes left on our webinar. So I'm going to open the floor to you guys to answer to fire off some questions. And if we don't, I can spend these 5 minutes here touching on some of the Nitro Studio features.
Hi, Ryan. It's Scott. I don't see any questions coming in at the moment,
Okay, perfect.
but we can talk. I think that's good if you do show. Yeah, go ahead and show that. That's good.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
so yeah, guys, in the in the introduction, I talked about this Nitro Studio, right? So these Nitro apps. We talked a lot about a lot of these already, the Power Portal, the Nitro reports, our workflows, advanced approvals, custom actions. One of the things I want to touch on while we have some time is this forms piece. And I said, hey, the forms are as flexible as you want them to be. And that's the idea, is that all of our forms are created on a specific list. So from our form designer tool, I have access to configure any of the forms within the application on any of the lists. And then we try to make it as easy as possible from a form design perspective. So in my opinion, the way that I see our forms breakdown, it's kind of like a three-tiered process, three different levels. First level is UI UX, design of the form. Second is SharePoint standards, like permissions, validations, column creation, tab creation, etc. And the third is the development side. So you can come in and you can change like the layouts, the themes. I gotta pick a different color there, Ryan. There we go. The tab color. You can change the background color on the panels themselves. So if you wanna, you wanna get away from that kind of standard SharePoint white, you have that ability. Under global settings, you can actually create your own themes for your forms. So if you want to, create a theme specific to your company, you can. Font color, font family, background color, right? And then once that theme is created, you can apply it to any of the forms within any of your Nitro sites if you choose to go that route. We also have the ability to inject custom CSS into a form as well. Right. Now you can do other, pretty straightforward things like change the column layout, 2 columns to 1, right? You could do sections versus tabs. So a more like scrolling form. The idea here is to, make, there you go, let me move this out of the way. Make this form your own, try to make it specific to your company. Now the second side is the SharePoint standard side. So under form controls, we have our list, right? We're in a tickets list. We have all of our columns available in our tickets list here on the left-hand side. So you can scroll through. You can find the column that you want, and all you have to do is drag and drop it onto the form itself. Once it's there, you can move it around. Now you can do things like edit the column from the form designer, so a SharePoint standard, but you don't have to leave our form designer tool to do so. You can also create columns as well within the form designer tool. So instead of having to go to the list itself, create a column, you can actually do it from the form designer. Again, the idea being, let's have everything done from one common interface. Now, what's also cool about the form designer tool is that you can create unique permissions on not only columns, but tabs. So, I'm going to show, this column based on some unique condition, right? Condition equals X, Y, and Z. Doesn't equal this, contains this, doesn't contain this. So you have the ability to make the forms flexible to your specific requirements. Again, not only the columns, but the tabs themselves. And now you can do other things like convert column types to lookups, associated items. It's associated items is like info paths, repeating rows for those familiar. But yeah, lookup columns, associated item columns, and then all the way down to the being able to call out to external data columns, leveraging our REST API services to call out to other third-party tools if you want to call or push information in from another system that you're using. You can inject custom JavaScript on the form, have column permissions, form event actions. Our forms designer is very full-featured, very very full-featured, I guess is the best way to say it. But I could spend hours talking about just the form designer itself. What I wanted to do is just give you an idea that, hey, yeah, he said I can make this my own. I wanted to show you exactly how you can do that. So not only do you have access to come in here to change the forms, but like I said, the workflows, configure that portal, maybe update the branding specific to your particular organization, all the way down to those tiles and dials we saw on the original IT help desk screen. So this comes included with the IT help desk, and you have complete control over the application once installed in your environment. And that's kind of the one piece I will leave us on here. It's that this is a SharePoint application. This is going to sit inside of your SharePoint farm or your SharePoint tenancy. So once the application is installed, it's totally up to you on how far you want to take it, right? The out-of-the-box product works for you, great. If you want to take Nitro Studio and really, make configurations, make changes to the IT help desk, that's also available there as well. But we are just at the bottom of the hour. We have hit our 30-minute time limit. So again, if you have any questions, now's the time to shoot them over. We'll leave the meeting open for a few more minutes if you'd like to throw in some questions. If you want to see a more detailed demo, please let us know. sales@crowcanyon.com. We're also going to send you a video of our recording today, post completion. So reach out to us, respond to the email, sales@crowcanyon, come to the website, check us out. If you're interested in learning more about anything, give us a heads up. Scott, any questions? File in.
No. Yeah, there is another webinar coming up in February 13th on automating business applications for Nitro Studio.
Awesome.
It's another webinar. You can see on our crowcanyon.com/webinars page. And there's you're going to do another application workshop, another application webinar at the end of February, I think, right? So
yes,
yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Here we go. That's right. The screen right here. Yep. You have another one coming up, right, Ryan?
I do. Yeah, we have one coming up in February. So every month, kind of expect a Nitro Studio workshop. A big push for us is leveraging Nitro forms and workflows as an info path replacement, and then highlighting our applications. So IT help desk, asset tracking, etc. Keep eyes out for those upcoming webinars.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone.